I'm Christy. Today I want to talk to you about finding the best work solution. So as we continue looking to the future and trying to make the best plans for our loved one, I'm sure one of the first areas that comes to mind is that of work. Now, is your loved one going to work? If so, where? How many hours a week? So many more questions. For the sake of this post, I'm going to focus specifically on work options. We'll take a look at alternative options next week. Now, I don't know about your loved one, but AJ has some definite plans about what he wants to do in the future. And like most young adults, those plans change. Currently, he wants to be a farmer. Now, around Christmas time, he discovered a new simulator game, Farming Simulator. He bought it with his own money and has figured it out mostly on his own. He watches lots of YouTube videos about it and even follows a real-life farmer on YouTube. Now, I think part of the reason he wants to be a farmer is so that he can drive those big machines without a license. I think subconsciously, he's realized that he's probably not going to get his driver's license. But since we've told him that you can drive farm equipment without a license, he thinks if he's a farmer, he'll get to drive all that equipment. Not a dummy. Maybe not realistic, but not a dummy. Now, what's even more entertaining is watching him drive these machines in his game. Now, while he has most of them figured out, some of the modifications he's added are quite entertaining. Honestly, I suspect some of them aren't very realistic. Like for instance, he has this one machine that has an extremely wide set of discs that rotate. I think it might be a combine, but I don't know. Whatever it is and whatever it does, the discs set takes up probably 8 to 10 times the width of the machine itself. So, on the one hand, I say it's pretty efficient way to get through the field and to plow the field or whatever it's doing. On the other hand, it's really entertaining to watch. And watching him turn that beast around, oh, that's even more entertaining. Now, he's regularly also commenting on about the top speeds of these various machines in very AJ-like fashion. Mom, 20 miles an hour. This one goes 37 miles an hour. You get the idea. And it's always, Mom, that's so fast. Well, dude, it might be for that machine, but no, that's like really slow and hold up traffic slow. In the past, AJ's wanted to work at the Ford dealership and change oils in cars. Now, I'm not sure exactly where he came up with this option, but it was his dream for much of high school. Now, he did take auto shop for 2 years as his elective, and they did change oils in a car there, so I think that's what might have triggered it. He's also wanted to work at a dealership and wash cars. Seeing a theme here? Yeah, AJ and his love of cars are well known to anybody who knows him to any degree. He's been obsessed with all things vehicle almost as long as he could talk. So what do I think he should do in the future? Well, that can be a loaded question, but I'll share some of my thoughts. Hopefully, they'll begin helping you think through the process for your loved one. Now, my husband and I absolutely believe AJ needs to find a job. Now, here's part of our thinking process, or at least my thinking process. He's high functioning enough that he needs to be able to find, or that he can find a fulfilling job that he enjoys. He doesn't need to spend all day, every day, watching YouTube videos and playing his simulator games. And that's really all he does when he's home. He'll feel proud of himself for a day's work well done. Now, this job definitely does need to be a good fit for him, or he's going to decide he doesn't want to go, and eventually he'll refuse to go. Then I'm in trouble. And finally, he needs to continue to grow and develop, just like I do. Now, all of these things have led us to try to figure out the best job placement for him. That's a big part of the reason we've got him enrolled in this job skills program that he's in. This particular program exposes him to several different kinds of work environments. It also has a couple different locations that focus specifically on the custodial or janitorial work, and we know he likes that kind of work. So what does AJ's future work environment look like? Honestly, I have no idea today. And I'm grateful that we still have some time to figure it out before he'll start working. Like I said, I know he's going to get some kind of a job. We're currently looking around to see if it's possible for him to become a farmer. Now, in some ways, I think this would be an ideal situation if we can find a farm that utilizes individuals with special needs and has a bunkhouse type living situation for him. Now, I also realize I'm probably dreaming to think this kind of thing exists in the real world. Now, if we can't figure out a farming solution, we'll probably look into something automotive or janitorial. Again, I'm not sure that anything automotive is realistic for his ability level, but because of his love for all things automotive, I know that it would keep him coming back day after day. Now, I also know that with the right team, he could be just as content and fulfilled working on a custodial team that embraces him for who he is and continues to teach him more cleaning skills. Now, to be perfectly transparent, I'm not trying to find these jobs by myself. I'm working with 2 different local organizations that specialize in this area and have way more context and information about what's out there. There's no way I could figure this out on my own. Now, I'll be sure to let you know what happens when AJ actually gets his job. So how does all of this apply to you? Here's a few thoughts. First of all, is your loved one able to consistently show up for work and hold down a job? What kinds of work interests your loved one? Is there anything that they could turn into a career? How many hours a day is your loved one capable of working? Can they work full-time? Or is part-time more realistic? Are there any health concerns that would prevent them from holding down a job or completing a particular job? And finally, how hard will it be to keep your loved one engaged and going to work day after day? Now, if you're interested in a more detailed explanation of all of this, you can check out 2 links that I've got in the blog. That's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in September of 2020. Now, in these 2 posts, I talk about how to get the work support your loved one may need to successfully hold down a job. Now, as always, these are just a few thoughts that I've had on the topic, and a lot of it is simply what we're choosing to do for AJ. Now, I'm sure your decision process will look a bit, or maybe a lot different for your loved one. Where you live, what organizations are around to help you, or the lack of organizations, the interests of your loved ones, and so many other factors go into making this kind of a decision. My hope is that this post, as well as the ones that I link to, will help you begin thinking through the options. What you end up choosing will be right for your family. Now, the best thing is, if you discover that the choice you made isn't as good as you thought it would be, you can always try and find a better solution. Just like you and me, a job for a loved one doesn't have to last for their entire life. So my question for you this week is this. What are your thoughts on finding a job for your loved one? Is there something that I've overlooked or haven't thought of? I'd love to hear about that. You can leave me a comment below, or you can leave me a comment over on the blog. Again, that's at www.havenofhopeforme.com. This originally posted in September of 2020. I'm looking ahead with much anticipation over AJ's future career, and I'm so grateful that I can continue to say that life is good and there is never a dull moment.